There is a time and a place to punch a volley. Be really firm and kind of stick it. When you're really close to the net, it's an easy ball, absolutely. But unfortunately, most volleys are not like that. Most of the time when you hit a volley, you're not close to the net and it's not slow and high. We kind of have to earn those shots, usually. Sometimes in doubles, it'll be your first volley, but typically, I would say 3/4 of our volleys are not that variety. And so there needs to be some feel, there needs to be some touch and some control, a little bit of finesse. And tennis players are usually not very good at that. Here's a drill that you can do to learn how to feel that and to develop that feel and that finesse. What I have here is the Playmate ball machine feeding like a medium speed ball right down the middle. And I'm like arm's length away from the net. I'm very close to the net, and it's gonna be feeding me like chest height shots. This is maybe one of the hardest things you're ever gonna try on a tennis court. Well, what I'm gonna do is turn about 45 degrees to the side, put my racket right in front of me, and when the ball machine feeds, I'm gonna be trying to line my racket up so that the ball hits the middle of the racket, and just leave my racket there. And you're just gonna have to kind of trust me on this, unless you record yourself. Don't swing forwards. And that's gonna be very hard for you. And you're gonna think you're not swinging forwards, but you probably still will be swinging forwards. We just have a subconscious, like automatic response whenever the ball is coming towards our racket to do something to the ball. And what I'm asking you to do here in this drill is to leave the racket there and don't do anything. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll do a couple of those and you'll see the angle from the side here. So I'll line up my racket behind the incoming ball and just leave it there. And you'll actually notice my racket's getting pushed back. And so not only am I not swinging forwards, but the ball is actually winning as it gets to my strings. And that's kind of step 2. Step 1 is just figure out how to just do nothing. When you first try this, you can ask somebody to toss you a ball or feed you a ball, or if you have access to a ball machine, you can do this drill all those different ways. And the first time you try it, I'm telling you, you're going to want to do this because that's just a natural response for humans for some reason, is to do something to the ball. That's why we're holding this club thing, right? Is to like inflict like damage on the bad ball coming in towards us. So it's very hard to just leave it there. And then step number 2 is to actually relax your hand. So not only don't swing forwards, but leave the racket there and let the ball push the racket back. And that's the second most difficult thing to do, is relax the hand. And you'll notice these are still going over. The racket, modern rackets and strings are extremely efficient at redirecting energy. If the ball barely falls over, then it probably means the ball hits somewhere next to the frame. Whenever it hits the middle of the racket, it easily goes over to the other side. You don't even have to hold on to the racket. If I put a table here and just put the racket on top of it and fired the ball machine into the racket, the ball would go over without even holding on to the racket. I know because I've done stuff like that before. The racket will send the ball back. So this is step 1 in learning how to have feel and touch. What feel and touch mean is absorbing energy. And when I relax my hand and the ball hits my racket and the ball wins, however much the racket pushes back is how much energy I'm taking away from the ball. The more rigid and stiff I hold on to the racket and the more immovable the racket is, the more energy it's going to send back. Does that make sense? The more the racket gets pushed, the less the ball will go on the other side. So if you want to hit a drop shot or a drop volley or in some other way remove energy from the ball, it's all about this right here, relaxing the hand and not adding stuff to the ball. So this is step 1. And now we're going to add on top of this a little bit. The lesson you're watching right now is taken directly from my new book, Essential Tennis. If you're enjoying it, please know that this book is full of 38 other lessons, all focused on the fundamental areas of tennis that you need to get better. So go check it out on Amazon or wherever else books are sold. Now we're back in a more typical or normal volley position, about halfway between the service line and the net, a little bit further away than that. I'm having the ball machine feed the exact same speed, but I've raised it a little bit so that it makes it back to this position, and I'm going to be hitting from about the same height. And now we're going to add some forward guide of the racket. And that's going to come from my hips, my torso, rotating forwards. That's going to bring my hand and the racket through the point of contact. The hard part about being a great volleyer is we need to combine direction by guiding the ball towards where we want it to go and giving it a little bit of a guide on its path towards where we want the ball to go, while also relaxing the hand as much or as little as is necessary to get the result you want. The tighter you are, the more you squeeze, the more the racket will send all the energy back to the other side. The more relaxed you are, the more the ball wins the collision, the softer of a shot, the less deep the ball goes. And so you need to be able to change that based on how fast the ball is coming in, how low you're making contact, how short you're aiming in the court, how deep you're aiming in the court. All those things have to combine together, and then you, from there, as an expert volleyer, need to decide how much firmness do I need here? How much force do I need to go through the ball? And the combination of those two things results in the perfect volley, hopefully. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate some volleys where I'm going to do both things. I'm going to turn forwards and guide the racket while keeping my hand relaxed and having the racket actually get pushed back. And so from the side angle, you'll see the ball still winning while my hand pushes forwards. And so these are very, relaxed, non-competitive volleys. I'm just practicing relaxing my hand, and I'm feeling for my racket to get pushed back. And in real life, if I was receiving this type of shot and I wanted to hit a more competitive shot, then I would firm up more. I would say the volleys I just hit, my hand was probably at like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. If 10 out of 10 is as tight, as much of a vice grip as I can have on the racket, and a 1 is like the racket's probably going to fall out of my hand, that was probably like a 3 or a 4. If I go up to like a 6 or a 7 and I push through the ball, now it's going to be a much firmer shot. And the racket's not going to get pushed back nearly as much because I'm being twice as firm with my hand. And so the ball has more energy coming off the strings. So the application here is if I'm receiving a shot that's 70 miles an hour instead of, this is probably like 30, well, now I'm receiving all the pace I need and energy I need. I don't have to squeeze and hit it back hard. If anything, I might have to actually absorb a little bit of energy in order to hit the shot that I want. So hopefully that makes sense. I just kind of crammed a lot into a very short period of time. But this is a drill that you can do to start getting a feel for this different variations of tightness or looseness. And hopefully you get a sense now visually by looking at the angle from the side, seeing the racket getting pushed back, the guiding forwards. Start mixing and matching those and playing with it. And your ability to respond to different situations and scenarios around the net will skyrocket as soon as you understand these principles and you start applying them to your volleys. If you enjoyed that lesson and you'd like more, make sure to go pick up a copy of my new book, Essential Tennis, co-written by my good friend here, Joel Chasnoff. And inside this book is really the culmination of my entire coaching career, the last 20 years of working with students, helping them make breakthroughs. And this book contains the most important elements that you need at the foundation of your game for tactics, for technique, for the mental game, for learning how to improve and self-guide. So if you're looking to break through to the next level, this is full of 38 chapters, the most important principles, as well as lots of video lessons that are connected to the book material and content, case studies. It's just incredibly, incredibly insightful and valuable. So if over the years I've brought you any value at all through my online lessons and you'd like to help support me, then do me a favor, go to Amazon or anywhere else books are sold and go pick up a copy today.